Great race days and extravagant party nights are the hallmarks of the Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek. 9 years on, and with a new venue this year, the racing and partying has only gotten better. Welcome to the 2012 Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek. As the boats left the anchorage on day one, 8 knots from the southwest and 1 metre swells greeted the sailors. Race officer Simon James announced the courses, windward leewards for the racing fleets and round the islands courses for the cruising fleets. IRC Racing I, Sportsboarts and IRC Racing II were on the start line together, competing separately as well as for an IRC overall trophy. Into sequence, and the first race of the 2012 Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek was underway. All eyes were on the new Katsu, an Aquila Reichel Pew 45 built in China and taking part in its first competitive event. A good start from Katsu, they charged to the front and led around the course to take line honours. With Steve McConaughey calling tactics and a rock star crew, the J130 Jingjing sailed well to take the first win of the series on corrected time. In the second race for IRC Racing I, Katsu got a poor start. Fearing OCS, she ducked back behind the line and while made up time over the course, lost out to Wan Marang, who sailed an almost perfect race to take line honours.
We've been on the water today for our first day race. It was good sail, not so much heat out there with the overcast, but the winds were strong, around 10 to 12 knots, decent sail. First race was okay. We had some mishaps with the kite coming up and the second beat down, dropping the kite. We had a little bit of an issue, but we were able to actually shrink the distance to Katsu, I think. And then the second race through was a lot stronger. We came in, we corrected a lot of our issues, we were able to come across the line.
Jingjing, however, stayed in contention throughout and took the win on corrected time, with Wan Marang in second and Katsu third. This was not the best of starts for Katsu, but the crew are still learning their way around the new boat.
The first race particularly, we had a reasonably good start. We were very quick upwind, some good downwind legs. Great, we got line honours. The nearest boat that we are competing with is Wan Marang, the GP42.
What I like about the new Katsu is there's a lot more space on the boat, especially from a crew point of view. When you're in the cockpit, because she's a full-on race boat, there's much more space to move around. She's wider at the back. She tends to pick up faster, and once she gets in the groove going upwind, where the old Katsu you crank on the main sheet in heavy winds, she used to point up a little bit, head up a little bit. This one just gets in the groove and just keeps going. It's fantastic. Give it a couple of days, we'll be in our match-winning performance mode.
Racing on the same course and start line, Sportsboarts enjoyed some close racing. On paper, the high-tech Wellborn 25 Brace 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 with its dynamic stability system looked the hot favourite. They traded places with the Phuket-built Phuket 8 Surf Patrol, who scored a 1, 2 and tied with Brace 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 at the end of day one. Built for one design racing, the Soto 30 Longitude was chartered by an international crew, and racing under IRC handicap was always going to be tough. On the water, however, Longitude kept in touch with the fleet and enjoyed some good battles, finishing with 2 third places on the day. The largest class, with the 7 boats lining up, was IRC Racing II and included a number of past winners. Competition was expected to be tough, and on the water the racing was close. Ruby Tuesday scored the first win of the series, beating Scandia Endeavour of Whitby by a minute on corrected time. In the second race, Phoenix improved 1 place to finish second ahead of Ruby Tuesday, but Scandia Endeavour of Whitby put in a great performance to win by a clear 3 minutes on corrected time and tie things up at the top. The 7-strong IRC Cruising fleet included 2010 winner Remington, a slippery Sparkmans and Stevens 12.8, who's a regular on the podium at regattas in Asia. However, it was Asia Marine Kinnon, sailed by local stalwart Andy Dowden, that got the best start and led the fleet upwind. It didn't take long for the Oceanus 423 Dreamtime to find their rhythm on the scenic course. They pulled out a 5-minute lead to claim line honours and the win on corrected time in the only race of the day. Organisers of Phuket Raceweek were left in a dilemma earlier this year as their home of 8 years was sold. With approximately 4 months to go before the regatta, the pressure was on to find a new home, and one at least as good as, if not better, than the previous. Cape Panwa Hotel, located on Phuket Island's southeast coast, came to the party and was the title sponsor and host venue for this year's race week. And what a great venue it proved to be.
We've been running Phuket Raceweek out of Everson Phuket for the last 8 years, and we found out last year that they were closing down, so we were left without a venue. We're pretty much stuck to this side of the island, to the eastern side of the island, because of the time of year. So we went looking for a suitable venue, and fortunately Cape Panwa Hotel came up trumps for us. There's a fantastic anchorage here. If you're sitting on your boat out there looking ashore, you're looking at what Phuket used to be like 20 years ago.
We were approached by the organizer last year that they would like us to sponsor and host the Regatta Phuket Raceweek, and we thought it's a good opportunity for us, and it's a good opportunity for people to know the Panwa area, because there are many hotels in this area such as Cape Panwa Hotel, Sea Panwa Hotel, Canterbury Bay, Radisson, and many more. So it's a good way of promoting our local area. We feel it's our responsibility to let people know more about this beautiful section of Phuket.
In the Firefly 850 class, Voodoo got off to a great start with 2 bullets on the opening day, leaving the rest of the fleet in their wake. While in Multihull Racing, Da Vinci pulled out all the stops to win the first 2 races of the series, while rival Miss Saigon struggled to find their form, finishing with 2 fifth places. Four classic boats made it to the start line this year, a large fleet as classic classes go in Asia. And although the oldest boats in the fleet, they were no less competitive, with the 1935 schooner Sirius scoring the first win of the series. Weather predictions were for more of the same on day 2. 2 windward leewards for the racing boats and multi-hulls were in order, and an islands course for the IRC Cruising and the Classics. Katsu and Wan Marang picked up where they left off yesterday, battling it out for positions on the water. Katsu got the better start, but Wan Marang reined them in, rounding the bottom mark just 1 boat length behind. Struggling to find her speed, Wan Marang sailed past Katsu to lead to the finish and take line honours in race 1. Despite a great performance by the crew, Wan Marang could not beat Jing Jing on corrected time, who added another first to their tally of 2 from yesterday. A delay ensued as the race committee waited for the winds. 10 knots arrived on cue and race 2 was underway. Katsu and Wan Marang were over early and had to return, playing into Jing Jing's hands, who went on to comfortably win her 4th race of the series on corrected time. Brace, Brace, Brace got a flyer in race 1, but was soon reined in by Longitude, who had a storming race to take line honours by 1 second. However, it was Surf Patrol who came out best, taking the win on corrected time. The second race of the day, the sports boats were close, and after rounding the downwind mark, Brace, Brace, Brace edged out a lead and never looked back, taking line honours and the win on corrected time.
We've chartered the boat for the regatta and really enjoying the experience of sailing on a new boat that's just been launched recently and latest design, so all good fun. We got to know the boat a lot better today. This is only our 2nd day racing, so yesterday we were just figuring a few things out, and today we've felt a lot more comfortable with how we got up to boat speed and our target speeds, and just the trim and learning the sails and how to trim the boat and how to go fast was worked out pretty well today, so we're making good progress.
A shake-up in IRC Racing II saw Australian entry Moya Hin come to the fore, taking both line honours in Race 1 and the win on corrected time. She continued her performance in Race 2 with good downwind speed, taking line honours again. But this time they could not hold off Scandia Endeavour of Whitby, who took the win on corrected time and the overall lead at the halfway point.
Races were fantastic. We went quite well. Don't know the results yet. Yesterday was sort of all brand new crews, sort of getting used to each other. So jibes weren't fantastic, but today was sort of really got onto it and didn't have a problem today. I'm from Royal Melbourne Yacht Squadron. This is my second year that I've come to Phuket to do this fantastic race. So really enjoying it. Fantastic facilities here and trying to encourage a lot of our other yacht club members back from Melbourne to come over here next year. So hopefully we'll have our own boat here next year.
Sail in Asia got the best start in IRC Cruising, leading the fleet of 7 boats off the start line and around the course, taking line honours and the win on corrected time. Voodoo continued their winning ways in Firefly 850, adding 2 from 2 today to take their tally to 4 wins from 4 starts. Their superior performance upwind is setting them apart from the rest of the class. The minor places were shared around with Premier Crew, placing second in Race 1 after a 5-4 yesterday, but losing out to Moto Inzi in Race 2. Multihull Racing was true to form, with Mark Pescott and crew on Da Vinci taking 2 more wins. However, it was Miss Saigon with the biggest smile at the end of the day, scoring 2 second places after a disastrous 2 fifths on the first day.
Today was much better. Yesterday we got 2 fifths, last in fact, 2 lasts, which is unbelievable when I think about it, but today we got 2 seconds, which is a lot better. And I don't quite know how we got a second in the first race, because we had all sorts of problems. Our first spinnaker hoist, we got an hourglass in the spinnaker which we couldn't get out. We had to actually take the spinnaker down and untwist it and rehoist it, and then we got completely tangled up with one of the monohulls. I mean, it wasn't their fault, and just gotten ourselves in a complete mess with them. But somehow or other we got second in that first race. The second race was great. I think it was the squall that came through in the first race that saved us. We made a lot of time up when that squall hit. But in the second race we had to overtake Da Vinci twice, but we beat them on the line by 1 second.
While Da Vinci and Miss Saigon were celebrating, Nina, who is chartered and sailed by a crew from Australia, were putting in consistent performances and quietly moving up the rankings. It was all changing in the Classic class. After a win on day 1, Sirius slipped to 4th. Newcomer McBob the boat and crew sailed a good race to win ahead of the 106-year-old schooner Seraph. The grey skies of the first 2 days were replaced by glorious blue skies and tropical sailing weather on day 3, with a fresh 10-knot breeze and building. The dominance of the leaders in the multi-hull fleets over the first 2 days meant Voodoo and Da Vinci, if successful today, could seal the title a day early. After 2 days of windward leewards and with better breeze today, race officer Simon James sent all classes on longer courses around Bon and Lone Islands, followed by a windward leeward for the racing and multi-hull fleets. Katsu was hoping for better things in the building breeze, however it was not to be. Juan Morang just missed out on line honours in race 1, but easily beat Katsu over the line in race 2 to take 2 second places and relegate Katsu to 3rd overall with 1 day to go. Jingjing showed their pedigree with superior crew work and tactics to take both handicap wins comfortably. Whether a windward leeward or a distance course, Jingjing appears to have the measure of all at this year's Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek. Surf Patrol performed best over distance in race 1 of the sports boats and took the win on corrected time ahead of Longitude. In the second race, following a general recall, Brace 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 jumped back to the top with a clean sail to take the win ahead of Surf Patrol. Surf Patrol takes a 1-point lead into the final day. Leading at the halfway point, Scandia Endeavour of Whitby has a mixed performance, placing 4-2 today, while Ruby Tuesday took the win in the first race and Phoenix in the second. Going into the final day, only 2 points separate the top 3 boats.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been good. Enjoy the venue. Wind's been good. First couple of days. Today not so much. Hopefully tomorrow improves. Conditions weren't great for us today, but every other day has been quite good for us. Wind's been up, but today not as expected really.
In IRC Cruising, Sail in Asia continued their consistency and sailed a solid race to place second, but it was Remington who took line honours and the win, bringing her back into contention, just 1 point behind the leaders with 1 day to go.
It was one race today. It was a big around the island ace and then an upwind and downwind leg. So we had lots of memorable things happen. Some we can keep secret, some we can tell. We had a rip just before we had to hoist the spinnaker, so we were busy taping that just before a hoist. We were very, very closely watching tag behind us in dream time, and luckily we didn't do too many mistakes that messed up what we did, but yeah, it was good.
Despite crossing the start line in last place, Hans Raymond and his Voodoo crew sailed a flawless race. They worked their way through the fleet, took the lead halfway up the course and never looked back, going on to win the second race also and seal the Firefly 850 title. The minor placings are hotting up as Moto Indy scored a 3-2 and Twin Sharks a 2-3, leaving it wide open for the final day. It was a similar story in the Multihull Racing class, as Mark Pescott sailed the Phuket-built Da Vinci catamaran around the course to take 2 more wins and secure the series title a day early. Nina continued to sail well and scored a 2-2, while Miss Saigon dropped to 5th in the second race of the day, all but ending her chances of a podium place. Despite winning line honours, McBob the boat lost out on handicap to reigning champion Idiom in the classic class. Just 1 point now separates the 4 boats, with Sirius and McBob the boat tied at the top.
We did quite well today. It was neck and neck with Idiom for quite a while. Conditions were a little bit low on wind, but it was all good. It was sailing up and around and then downwind with very light winds. Managed to put the spinnaker up. We're side by side. We actually touched at one point. We kept on telling them to back off because they're on the leeward sides. In our class, it's an open field because we're all basically neck and neck.
With a participant-centric approach to race week, organisers also know the importance of sponsors and sponsorship.
Sponsorship is very important for a regatta. It's not more important than the participants, but it's as important. Regattas can't run without sponsors. Where I think we score above some of the others is that we approach it commercially. For us, sponsors give us something and we have to give them something in return. It's not charity. So we employ professionals, Paul, Southeast Asia Company Limited, do all our sponsorship marketing and take care of the sponsors. And they make sure that we deliver what we promise to deliver. I think that's why we're successful with sponsors. It's about delivering what they want and them delivering what we want.
Mount Gay Rum, a returning Race Week sponsor, are well known for their sponsorship of sailing events globally, and this year used Phuket Raceweek to launch into Thailand. Mount Gay Rum Extra Old.
We sponsor around 120 regattas around the world, so we're very committed to sailing. And why sailing? Well, first, it is in our DNA, more or less. We have been a place for sailors to go back to the old world from the new world back in 1703. Barbados is also very much a sailing destination where it's quite difficult to sail, it's challenging. And also we like to embody the spirit of the sailors, the passion, the craftsmanship, also the dedication. And therefore we feel that those values are values that we share with Mount Gay Rum. Phuket Raceweek is one of the top, if not the top regatta in the region. So as we have a will and a desire to sponsor regattas and to be close to the sailing community in the region, it was a must-do for us.
The final day of the 9th Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek beckoned, and what a day it turned out to be. The best winds of the week blew, and the racing was frantic as crews gave it their all, trying to make gains and protect leads. A fresh 10 to 12 knots, gusting to 15, left the sailors with a smile on their faces at the end of the last day. 2 races for all but the classics proved a fitting finale to a great week of racing. And for some, this was their first time racing with the big boats. Competing in IRC Cruising was the 91.5 FM Sunsail Youth Racing Team. For a group of Thai youngsters aged 12 to 17 years old, mostly optimist and dinghy sailors, this was their first experience sailing in a major Asian regatta.
We've been teaching the kids who normally sail optimists and small dinghies to sail the big boat. We've only been out 2 or 3 times, so this is our first race. We did very well, but we weren't in the first 6, and there was only 6 in the race. So we were coming up the back most of the time, but they've had a great time. We had New on the helm, who was excellent all day. We had May helping out on trimming. We had Dar helping out with all sorts of work around the boat, and we had Toon, who was very, very good on the tacks. He was releasing and also grinding in. So they've all been working hard, and us adults have just been sitting back and doing nothing and let them run the boat.
Though they didn't win any trophies this year, the experience for the kids was a prize in itself. Struggling in the light areas earlier in the week, Katsu finally got into their groove, up and planing, and scored 2 bullets, their first wins of the series. It was, however, too little too late. Despite Jingjing slipping in 2 second places on the day, they wrapped up the series title comfortably, going 1 better than their second place last year. Katsu's final day performance, though, did drag them up the leaderboard into second, above Wanmarang in third. Sportsboarts went down to the wire. A first in race 1 for Surf Patrol left them in a commanding position, but on the second longer race they were beaten by Brace, Brace, Brace. It was not enough though, as Surf Patrol held on to take the series title at their 4th attempt. It was tight at the top of IRC Racing II, and one mistake could lose the series. Scandia Endeavour of Whitby got off to a good start with a first in race 1, but slid down the rankings in race 2, finishing 5th. Ruby Tuesday held their nerve with 2 second places to secure the overall class title by just a point. Phoenix tied on points in second, but on countback placed 3rd overall.
It's a very new crew, we've never all sailed together before, and so getting it to work has been a challenge. We've had a great regatta, the change of venue has been managed well by everyone. We've had great racing and good fun.
Sail in Asia sealed the IRC Cruising class win with a perfect performance on the last day, scoring 1-1. Remington had to settle for 2 seconds on the day and 2nd place overall. In the Firefly 850 and Multihull Racing classes, the winners were decided yesterday, and both Voodoo and Da Vinci went on to score more wins again today. A 4-1 on the last day was enough, however, for Moto Inzi to secure 2nd in the Firefly 850, ahead of Twin Sharks in 3rd. Enjoying the strong wins, a late charge from Sweet Chariot with 2 seconds on the day was not enough, and they finished 3rd behind Nina, who held on for a worthy 2nd place overall in the Multihull Racing class.
We got 8 wins out of 8 races, so I can't complain about that. Good racing, very good regatta, a little bit light at times, but today we had a better breeze, 12-15 knots in the second race at least, and yeah, so good racing, no nasty scores all week, so that's always nice. Very well tuned up, very good sails, good campaign, good preparation, and very good crew work. The crew worked like clockwork all regatta. I don't think we had one mistake at all in anywhere through the regatta. Very good on the drops, very good on the hoists, and pretty good on the tactics too.
McBob the boat blew it with a 4th place finish in the final race of the Classic class, while Sirius scored their 2nd bullet of the series and took the class win ahead of last year's winner Idiom in 2nd. Taking place in Phuket's green season, the Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek has developed a reputation for delivering great sailing with consistent wins over the years, and this year was no exception. Raceweek has also become well known for its social scene, delivering some of the best onshore parties of any regatta in Asia. As the racing came to a close, prizes were awarded at a lavish gala dinner hosted by the Cape Panwa Hotel, and the party went on long into the night. The Cape Panwa Hotel Phuket Raceweek was a huge success. The new venue exceeded all expectations and raised the already high bar even higher. According to sailors, sponsors, VIPs and media, Phuket Raceweek is the regatta that regatta organisers have to beat.
We work very hard at making it as good as it can possibly be. The participants are very important. If they enjoy themselves, if they have good food, if they have plenty to drink, and they have good racing on the water, they go away happy people. This year I know people are going to go away delighted.